Hello, ladies. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dana. I'm a certified holistic nutrition consultant, and my specialty is helping women understand what foods they personally need to eat in order to rebalance and regulate their hormones. I really help my clients get deep into their bodies to understand the root cause of hormonal symptoms, not just the fluffy one-off quick fix ideas that so many people are giving you. And just really help you understand what you need personally. This is how I have managed to regulate my hormones. I started 10, 11 years ago. And today at 46, I still don't have any of the perimenopause symptoms and problems that so many women struggle with. And I have gone through a few iterations of letting myself go so that I could experience a few things, so that I could use my nutrition knowledge to get rid of them. And the fastest I've gotten rid of these symptoms in the past has been 2 days. And the slowest was 3 weeks. Even weight. I can drop weight within 5 days, quite a bit, inches, not so much pounds, because that's not my concern, but body composition. I can change my body composition to back where I want it to be and be happy within 5 days of following what I do. So I love helping women understand their own bodies because I believe, and I know myself, the importance of understanding what your body is all about versus trying to fit a treatment or a solution that's meant for somebody else's body. That's where a lot of the nutrition fad diets come from, is someone said, hey, this is what I did. Now everybody else should do this too. And that's not how it works. We're all so individually unique. We all have different stress levels and biochemical makeups. Men versus women is huge, especially women in these perimenopause years where our hormones are fluctuating so much that it's really hard to keep up with them if you're trying to do mainstream conventional health and testing, which is what I want to talk about today. So if you've ever been told just to get your hormones tested, or if you've spent hundreds or maybe thousands of dollars on lab tests that left you feeling confused, dismissed, unheard, or worse, gaslighted, this is for you. We're going to talk about why lab tests are not the gold standard for understanding hormone levels in women in perimenopause and how relying on them can lead to more harm than good. Now, don't get me wrong, lab tests definitely have a great time and a place for other health issues, whether that's cholesterol or glucose or whatever have you. They do have a time and a place. They're great for testing these things. But because our hormones, which we're going to talk about in a bit, fluctuate, these lab tests aren't useful for us in perimenopause. Even the at-home ones that are specific to hormones that are everybody's raving about. So I just have a quick question to start with. Have you ever had a lab test done and only gotten results that made you feel something like something was still off, but your doctor's like, I don't see anything going on. Like, I can't help you. Everything looks normal. Or maybe you got a diagnosis or a treatment based on your lab tests. You had a few slightly abnormal ones and you got a treatment, a medication, a supplement, something, and you started that and you still don't feel right. Or maybe it backfired completely. This happens to so many women that I work with, and it's happened to me as well. So you're not alone if you're like, yeah, that's happened to me. You're not alone. Research shows that hormone levels in women during perimenopause can fluctuate by as much as 300% in a single day. So think about, let's say, I mean, nothing is ever flat in a body, but let's say estrogen is, when we're in like our 20s, it's sitting like here. Imagine that 300%, like 150% on either side. Like, it could go crazy. So if you take blood or saliva samples at one point in time, and that's the key to remember, this is a point in time test. When you do that, it's like taking a snapshot of a movie and assuming you know the entire plot. So I have a quick story I want to share with you to help you kind of understand what can go wrong. So a few years ago, I was pretty good. My health was doing pretty good. I had some stress that I believe back then was contributing to like that niggle of a fatigue that was still holding on tight. I have chronic fatigue syndrome, so it's something that I need to always be aware of, or I am always aware of. So anyway, I was also learning holistic nutrition and more about hormones. And so my naturopath and I together, she's like, you know what, would you like to do a full hormone panel, the Dutch test, after we were going to do a detox after completing a detox? Would you like to do that and see the results so you can read them for your clients? I'm like, absolutely. I'm a guinea pig for myself. I'll do anything. So I did the Dutch test, which was adrenals and estrogen and progesterone and all of that. So this was in 2021, I believe. So January 2021, I was put on she had found a new supplement and wanted to test it on me and see how it worked. And of course, me being a guinea pig, I'm like, sure. And it was a deep detox. It was just powder, but it was a deep detox. And I mean, I did it. I didn't really feel any different. So end of January or beginning of February, I went back to her after that detox, and she's like, here's the hormone test, take it home and do it. So I went home and I did it second week of February. It took about 5-6 weeks to get the results back. When I got them back, she sent them to me so I could read them. And sure enough, it did say on there, like, my estrogen was a little low. So 2 weeks later, in mid-April, second week of April, I saw her. And she's like, so we talked about the results. And she's like, well, your estrogen is low. I have this brand new, really amazing estrogen boosting supplement. Would you like to try it? Like, sure. So I went on this supplement. I got it about 2 weeks later because it took a little while to get in. And within 3 weeks of me going on that supplement, I could not fit into my jeans anymore. I was exhausted. I was waking up in the night. I felt awful. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, I haven't been changing my diet. I was working at home, COVID and all that. And I was doing my best to exercise. Nothing had really changed in my lifestyle, but just suddenly this instant weight gain. And I hated how I looked. I hated how I felt. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's that supplement. So I stopped it. I let her know. And I'm like, hey, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, this is what's happened. And she said, oh, I bet it's because we did the test right after you did that deep detox and we cleared out a bunch of estrogen. And at the point in time of the test, you were at a low in estrogen because you're just coming off a serious clearing out of hormones detox. But by the time you got the results, your body was back to normal and estrogen was fine. So what we ultimately did with this estrogen boosting supplement was elevate my estrogen to a point of serious estrogen dominance that I struggled with. I honestly still struggle a little bit with the ramifications of that today. It's like there was a switch flipped in my body, and I can, if I'm really, really restrictive, I can completely wipe out the problems. But there's just I just noticed a difference. And it could be my age, like I'm 46 now. But that really opened up my eyes to how we need to be super careful when it comes to point in time hormone tests and what we do about it. And this is why I love my whole body hormone assessment, because it gets deep into the body. It looks at everything going on. And so if I had done an assessment on myself at the same times, like post detox, lab test time, results, and going on the supplement, I would have seen, I am convinced, that my estrogen was low and it was coming back just fine. And my liver was super clean, and then maybe going back to normal and all this stuff. This is my warning to you. Be careful. I have worked with a ton of clients where lab test results have failed them in perimenopause and given them a very similar experience to mine, usually backfiring, taking them in the wrong direction, or, best case scenario, they just stay stuck and they're shelling out all this money for these meds or these supplements or whatever and not feeling anything. But we have this conscious need or subconscious belief that if we're taking our supplements, we're doing our body good, whereas in reality, that isn't always the case. So here is the deal on lab tests. These hormonal lab tests, they are static, but our hormones are dynamic. They change throughout the day, the week, the month. Even if you don't have a regular cycle, if you're on an IUD, you've had a hysterectomy, all of this. And this is especially important to understand that when you're in your perimenopause years, when your body's natural rhythm has become quite unpredictable. Perimenopause is the 10 to 12 years before actual full-blown menopause. happens. You are officially in menopause when you have gone for 12 full calendar months with no period. And yes, a few women do end up getting it after the fact, so it's kind of frustrating, but that would be when you would be in menopause. So if your mom or your aunts went into menopause at about, like, say 55, it's possible that you started perimenopause from anywhere between 40 and 45. And I have a lot of women that I talk to is like, well, I'm only 38. There's no way I'm in menopause. Well, of course, you're not in menopause unless you've had a full hysterectomy. However, because of our lifestyle, because of the foods we eat and the exposure to toxins and chemicals and stress, a lot of women are hitting and starting perimenopause as early as 30, if not earlier. Roughly 35 is when I recommend you start really paying attention to your hormones, because the sooner you can get ahead of them with the right food and fueling the hormones and making sure that they are capable of keeping up with your busy lifestyle and the way you like to eat and all of those things that are important to you, the better off you're going to be through your 40s and into your 50s and beyond. Now, this unpredictability of your hormones, it starts to happen around age 35 to 40. So for example, estrogen might spike in the morning, it might dip in the afternoon, or surge at night. Progesterone levels can fluctuate wildly based on your cycle, of course, or stress. Progesterone is highly regulated by your stress levels and how you handle stress, how resilient you are to stress. And then cortisol. We know cortisol fluctuates, but cortisol is a stress hormone that can go haywire if you've had a tough morning, had a shitty sleep, anything like that. So this means that lab tests often give an incomplete or worse, false picture of your hormone health. And what happens next? Well, the treatments get based on faulty data. Women are prescribed medications or supplements that they actually don't need. They're told their symptoms are in their head, which is awful, or they're left feeling like failures when the treatments don't work. And it's not your fault. If you fall into any of those categories, this is not your fault at all. The system is set up to treat women's hormones like they're simple. Like one test in one day can unlock the whole story. But your body isn't a simple question or a simple problem to fix. It's dynamic. It's like the complicated math problems that you see in movies where, like, you know, the idiot savant walks into the room and solves the most unsolvable math equation, that type of equation. It's a living system. Those hormones are living. They control your body. They are moving and flowing and ebbing and getting blocked and all kinds of things all day long, all month long. So they need more than a one-size-fits-all approach. And I have read and heard from so many women too that there's a lot of doctors that don't even believe in the whole perimenopause concept. So getting help on that side is really tough and it's frustrating. And I don't want that for anyone. And we can't forget the emotional toll of being brushed off or gaslit by doctors who wave off your concerns because your lab results say you're fine. I've been there. I used to, when I had chronic fatigue and I was desperate to figure out how to fix it, I was told by so many doctors there was nothing they can do. And I'm like, you know what, there's got to be something. I'm not meant to live like this. So anytime I came across like a lab test, like thyroid panel and all that, I went to my doctor. Can I get this done? And I get a lot of pushback. No, it costs money. I'm like, yeah, don't care. And then you get it back and you'd be like, is there something? And she's like, no, it's all normal. I'm like, oh. In the end, it wasn't my thyroid, so that one was okay. But it's frustrating. I get it. It's isolating and infuriating. So what's the alternative? Well, what I do and what I help my clients with is not relying on lab tests alone. They are a good little starting point if you're curious. Go get it, see what it says, and we can discuss that. But what's more important is listening to your body's signals. What exactly is going on? What are you feeling? What are you experiencing? What are those cravings actually about? What symptoms do you experience after a certain time of the month? What do you feel after a certain meal? What do you experience after a bad sleep? These are what's important to pay attention to and start to notice patterns. The patterns of your symptoms and those changes of how you feel throughout the day, the shifts in your energy and mood and sleep. No lab test can fully capture this. And this is what really drives how well your hormones are functioning. So while hormones are controlling every little piece of your body, there's all these external factors controlling how well they're working. If you want another way of thinking about it, lab tests are a single tool, not the whole toolbox. They can offer clues, but the real work comes from understanding your body's unique rhythms and supporting it holistically. That's where the magic really happens. So think about this. How many times have you followed a treatment plan that just didn't feel right? Deep in your gut, intuitively, physically, however you want to describe it. How many times have you felt ignored or dismissed because your labs looked fine? How many times have you walked out of the doctor's office crying because you're so desperate to get a fix to your problems and nobody seems to get you? Now, what would change if instead of chasing those numbers on a test, you focus on getting to know your own body better so that you could make the best, most informed decisions that are right for you and your unique biochemistry and nutritional needs? What if you really understood the messages that your body was sending you? Instead of thinking them as symptoms, thinking them as whispers or screams for help, and then knowing exactly what help to provide it. So if this resonates, I'd love to help you cut through the confusion at any time. If you're interested, you can book a 1-hour holistic hormone assessment with me anytime. And we dig into what's going on deep inside your body. This gives me data across 250 points of your body, health points, from hormones to nutrients to organs to cells, etc. And then I analyze that and give you back, like, this is what's going on. This is why you're experiencing those symptoms. This is why your lab tests came back normal or not. And then here are some nutrition strategies or plans that you can follow. And I'm not giving out meal plans, and I'm not just sending you on your way. It's a conversation between the two of us as to, like, how do you eat? What do you like to eat? Here is my consulting advice to help you improve the nutrients that you take in while still enjoying your food, because nobody wants to be restricted. And if you're not quite ready for that, in the links below, you can check out my free hormone repair guide that starts guiding you through step by step how to really look at your hormones and fuel them and think about them as a holistic entity rather than as just hormones to fix and understand and address.